Okay, good morning everyone, and welcome to this short webinar in the series of boosting requirements management on top of Microsoft Word. So let's talk about attributes. What are they and why are they used? Well, attributes themselves, it should be seen as additional information which is associated and connected to the entity, meaning the requirement in our example, that will aid you in the definition and in the governance of those entities. And for requirements, you can see that attributes are additional information which is connected to that requirement. And those attributes can be organized within a set of broad categories. The first one is attributes which has to its purpose to further define the requirement statement and the underlying need behind that requirement statement. The second category is an important one. It's all those attributes which will help you in the verification or validation activities associated with that requirement. The third one is a set of attributes that will help you to manage both the requirement and the requirement lifecycle, but also how it's connected to the development effort itself. So it's connected to the progress of the work around that requirement, and you will see that also in the presentation. Then there are attributes which is connected to our need of perhaps showing applicability. Not all requirements are applicable at every moment, and we might need applicability type of attributes which will help us understand what requirements are valid and which requirements are not. And further into that subject, the fifth category is for those of you who works with product line management, where you have different products and you have a basic set of requirements, but some requirements are only valid for certain variants and configurations, and you might be needed to manage that type of information. So you can understand that it rapidly becomes a huge set of additional information on top of your requirement set. So I've been touching this even in the previous slide, but what's the purpose of this? Well, of course, the purpose is for you in a project situation to better manage the planning and the progress of your requirement set throughout that project. So the attribute themselves will assist you in different system engineering activities, and you will be able to process, filter, sort, and view certain sets of the requirement at certain points in time, which will aid you in different activities throughout the life cycle of your project or product for that case. But a little word of caution. I've seen that happen a couple of times, that people tend to add requirements because they can be good for something, but start with a lean approach and do not include sets of attributes just because you can, and because they need to be managed in the same sense as the requirement themselves. So if you don't have a need for it, if nobody have asked for them, you should wait, okay? But for the case of this presentation, I've added some sets of attributes which I think is needed in my project, and you of course have to set up the rules and the sets of attributes that you might need. And they can differ, of course. So some examples before I continue to do the demonstration. The first category, attributes showing their intent. Perhaps you have heard about the rationale, which is a very good way of capturing that extra information you always get when you are stating a requirement. You can have trace information as an attribute, showing the parent and the source, so you can follow the trace of your set of requirements and the allocation of requirements. You might want to add this stated mode attribute, showing that this information, this requirement is valid in certain states or modes. That's the first category. The second one is, of course, the one I've been focusing a little bit on here, is the verification and validation activities. You have to verify or validate the requirements that they are good. So you need to have attributes managing what type of method you would like to use to verify a requirement, for example, the strategy you want to allocate, the success or acceptance criteria. What is the goal of meeting the requirement with the selected verification method, and what is the result? And that can be something you write, or you can add a link to a source, a report or something to prove that you're actually reaching the success criteria of your requirement. Then there are a huge set, which is the third category, which is the one currently in use in most of the instances, I would say, because it's not enough to just have a requirement statement. You need to have verification attributes that I showed you in the previous slide, and you also need attributes that helps you in the system engineering efforts. So you need a unique identifier, and that's one attribute you always should have. Okay. You can have the originator, the one who stated the requirement, or the one who owns the requirement, which is the, for instance, organizational unit. Different types of attributes managing dates for when the information is entered, when it's changed, when a change was imposed, when the change was accepted. You might want to have attributes for managing risks or information of that kind. The implementation status is the requirement planned for implementation in the next release or next iteration, or what's the status. The type can be good. If you have a huge set of information and quite complex requirements, it might be good to state if you have a functional requirement, a constraint, or quality characteristics of some kind. What is the true purpose behind that requirement? And it's always good. You will find that yourself when you start to work with attributes. It's always good to have an extra column for additional information. It can be the to-do list, not forget list. It can be a note that you have to that you want to enter when you found out something, so that you don't forget that type of information. The fourth kind is for showing applicability. As I said many times, a requirement set is quite huge. It can be thousands of requirements if it's a complex and huge system. So you might want to be able to talk about applicability. And you perhaps want, if you have a commercial product, to specify for what country, what version, what domain is it valid. And of course, if you're into product line engineering, for instance, the automotive industry, you would like to state that this is valid for this type of car in this variant with this engine or this driveline or whatever. But I will not be focusing on these categories throughout the presentation. So let's continue. Let's look at the different approaches, or the current approach, you can say, for managing attributes in tools, in requirements management tools. And this example is taken just from one of the tools. This is IBM Doors. And of course, it doesn't matter if you use Visual, if you use Yama, if you use Teamcenter, Polarion, whatever tool you use, they all manage attributes. So just see it as an example. So in this tool, the Doors tool, you are managing a set of attributes. You see to the left, you define so to say the type, what type of data are they supposed to capture, and some other information. And all the tools basically do the same thing. So how do we do it? Okay, first of all, you will see that we are connecting to the set of attributes through the word add-in. But basically what we do is that we provide the same functionality. You can manage the attributes from within Microsoft Word. So what you will see that you are able to do is that you of course can add attributes, you can edit them, or you can delete them. You can work on the type of attribute, what are they supposed to capture, what type of data, and the format of the attribute itself. We can manage what we call enumeration, and an enumeration you can see as, you will see it as drag and drop lists in the actual attributes, but what they are restricting you to certain values or certain selections, and you can't choose anything else. So it might be good to have enumerations for yes and no, for instance, if you want that type of answer in an attribute, or you will see that I'm working with that with an attribute set for verification method in the presentation. And we can also manage workflows. And workflows are very, very good because that shows you the progress of the requirement in the development effort. And you will see that in the video itself. And of course, when you have a set of attributes, you want to manage where they are shown in the screen, and you would like to manage filtering through the attributes so you can filter out certain subsets of your requirements. So let's move into the demonstration with the SES Word add-in. What I will do is that I will not connect to something else than a video because it can be quite scary to do this online. But what I've done before I start the video is that I've opened Microsoft Word, as you will see. I've connected to the ontology, the language ontology which I'm using, and I've connected to the System Engineering Suite. Okay, so you will not see us doing that. We did that in previous short webinars where we connected and we managed the data. So I will open the SES Studio, and you will see what we call the content view. We will look at the attributes. I will add an attribute, and I will perform some change and show you how the workflow is managed. So let's go. This is our quite famous document by now, the James Webb Telescope document. And you see that this is the SES Studio Add-in with all its capabilities. I've already been connected to the ontology and SES, so I can just show you what information has been parsed and loaded into SES. And you see, for instance, that what I've been loading is all the items which I call requirements. And you see that we have the requirements ID, and the requirement statement itself has been loaded from the Word document. I've then been starting to add different types. You can type, for instance, you can add pictures as an attribute. I will not focus on this in this presentation, more to the right here. I've added owners, priorities, the rationale, some review comments. And this is the type of information that you typically would see, I would say. So let's take a look at the attributes themselves. So you can, in the attribute set, you can manage the attributes you have, of course. You can add new attributes and columns. You can manage these enumerations, and you can manage the workflows. And I will save that to the last in this presentation. So when it comes to enumeration, these are the lists, I'm calling them, the drag and drop lists. Priority, status, yes, no, and you can define your own, of course. Verification method, these are the ones I've been using in this connector. And for verification method, I've chosen analysis, test, demonstration, simulation, and inspection, typical ones used for for system requirement verification activities. So if I want to add a new attribute, managing verification, I have to give it the attribute a name. I call it verification method. The description is the header text. It will end up here at the top, verification method, and I can make a description if I want. The cell style is to show how will the information be shown in the screen, and you can also change the header style if you want. And I'm not doing it in this example. The data type, you have many different data types, string, Boolean, bytes, decimals, HTML connectivities, and you can choose if you want multiple or single enumerations. I'm choosing just a single one right now, and I'm choosing the verification method. You can choose if you want to enable sorting, filtering, or if you can add the column yourself, or if it's populated from elsewhere. So now every requirement has been updated with the verification attribute. And it comes to the right, and I want to move it a little bit so it ends up better in the screen, in the flow of the information. And I can add some information there if I want. Start using the attribute. Okay, so I want to choose test for this type of requirement. Now everything is updated, so I need to save it. And this activity will take some time because I now need to save this information to every requirement in the set. So it will take some time. And it's now downloaded again or loaded to the database. So now it's saved. Every information is saved to the ontology. And here it is. And I can start to work on this set of attributes. For instance, I have a review here. I've been getting some information from, oh, what happened? Oh, there it is. I've been receiving some information from Sarah that the weight is off scale. We didn't decide it like that, so I can of course change it in Microsoft Word, or I can change it using our editing RAT capability, which will provide me some extra guidance. Now the requirement has high quality. I'm not doing anything wrong with the requirement. It's just the data which is not correct. So the requirement is now updated. Now, of course, it's also updated in the document. And okay, so it's under review. I can of course say that it's okay, or I can perhaps share the document and let somebody else do this change, but it's now approved. Okay, and I can enter some date. And here I've been changing the format, so now it's in green and underlined, just to show that you can have different shapes and forms of the data. And you see here when we talk about the workflow that you can't choose everything. Okay, approved can be implemented or changed, and there is a flow here of possibilities. So this workflow, I call them requirement lifecycle. That's where I've actually added information on what are the different states a requirement can be in. So approved. From approved, I can always choose to implement or go to change of that requirement. I can't choose anything else. And that's for us to have a proper workflow, so we have control when we are working with the requirements. And that's very good. And we will talk a little bit more about the change management in later short webinars. But now I just want to show you the attributes. So of course you can do filtering. You can set the requirement status to under review to just look into the requirements which are under review. And that requirement, it was thought to be okay. So I can say that they are performed and they are approved. Okay. So this is a very good way of managing this type of activities, even if you're still in the Word document, so to say. And of course, I can manage the filtering in the way I want. So that was a very short and brief introduction on how to manage attributes using the SES add-in to Word on top of this document. So by saying that would actually end my demonstration. So now it's time to perhaps answer some questions if there have been anything received. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we have a question here. Is it possible to add attributes to any work item connected to your tool?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What we are showing right now is the Word add-in. So of course it's attribute connected to the information in the Word document, but any connector can have attributes within the SES environment. For instance, if you have a modeling tool, or if you have an Excel sheet, or whatever type of information you are connecting to, you can add attributes and manage those in the same way as we have been seeing here. Good question.
Okay, we have another one here.
Okay.
Is it possible to track changes on all attributes as well as on the requirements?
Yes, you can. As you saw, the attributes are loaded into the ontology. So we manage the changes on the information level itself, on the connector level, and Word is a connector in this sense, and on a project level, where you have multiple connectors in a set which is managed in the project. So you have kind of 3 levels of managing change. Good question again. Thank you. You're clever. Any more questions?
No more questions.
Okay. Well, okay. So thank you very much. The next webinar, which will be held on the 29th and 30th of March, will be dealing with managing requirement versioning and baselining and some basic change management. So I hope you can connect to the next webinar, which is number 5 in the series of short webinars managing requirements using Microsoft Word SES add-in. This is my contact information if you want to reach out to me. And of course, you can visit our webpage to see more presentations or download other types of information from us. And we also have a YouTube channel where you will find all of these videos later on. So thank you for attending this webinar and hope to see you soon again. Have a good day. Bye-bye.